Hi there, my name's Mark Woods and this is ISO in a nutshell. The nutshell I wanted to talk to you today about is the operations clause. It's clause 8 of ISO and it really is the heart of ISO 9000. We'd use a concept, a three-component concept that we'd call the get job, do job, build job activities. So that's the core activities that any organisation undertakes. Interestingly, ISO is not interested in whether you get paid. We would suggest that that's quite an important thing to document if you haven't documented it, but I can't say hand on heart that it is a core component of ISO. So get job, do job, build job, and what does that maybe look like for different types of companies? We do a lot of work with construction companies, so if you're taking a construction company through this process, you might start with the PQQs and tenders. You get a tickle from a client. As a result of that tickle, you would then move on. Once you've kind of won the work, hopefully, you'd move on to perhaps a mobilisation stage, whereby you organise subcontractors and materials and that kind of thing. That mobilisation stage would happen before you got on site. Once you were on site, you did some work, whatever that work was, M&E contracting, roofing, groundworks, whatever. Throughout those processes, there's some kind of on-site checking that you might undertake, and there would be snagging usually at the end. Once you've done snagging and completion and final account, hopefully there's a satisfied customer. So that's get job, do job, build job in a bit more detail throughout a construction process. A manufacturing company, slightly different. They might get an inquiry. As a result of the inquiry, they might have to design something. If you're designing something, you're not going to detail design it at that stage because that's costly. So you do an outline design, it would give you a costing, you present the costing, you then hopefully win the order. Once you've won the order, you then do the detailed design and you do some purchasing. From the purchasing, you go into production planning and then production proper. And then towards the end of that process, you'd be picking and packing and dispatching and all of those. Maybe you do some testing too. The point is, it's a get job, do job, build job process, and it needs to reflect the way in which your work works. So use your terms, use your terminology, and make it look like your business. That's the core, the heart of ISO, and it's what we would call the core activity map. You can, should you want to, you don't have to, it's not a requirement of ISO, but if you want to go further and make it even more powerful, you can connect each of those processes to key performance indicators. I think that's a great idea because I love numbers, but it is beyond ISO. So that's really ISO in a nutshell, operations, the core activity map. If you want more information, feel free to go to the website. There's an awful lot of information on the blog site. If you just key in the word processes, it will find you a how-to on how to do this in much more detail than I've been able to present here. So thank you very much. If you do need any further information, give us a call. Thank you very much. Cheers.